Where does the nerve to look down on others come from? Is it from the belief that one is the best, making others feel inferior? But isn't a person who can calmly reevaluate themselves to see if they're truly the best, the real strong one? My name is Alex. At first glance, it sounds like a boy's name, and I'm a bit dissatisfied with it as a girl's name. When I asked Mom, she said it's from a person she respects, and that person happens to be a woman. Knowing the reason, I accepted it, but I still wished for a more feminine name. So until high school, I deliberately wrote it in a cute handwriting. I was born a fraternal twin, and being the first to cry, I'm the older sister, followed by my brother. Mom wasn't undergoing fertility treatment. It was a natural pregnancy, making the 0.2% chance of having fraternal twins quite rare. My brother was named Theodore, a boyish name that I secretly envied. Mom said she named him after a mentor she once had, and my brother seems to embody Mom's memories, growing up healthy and strong. I secretly wondered if I was becoming the child Mom hoped for. Dad is a doctor, a surgeon at a university hospital. He's a brilliant doctor who has successfully performed many complex surgeries. My brother admires Dad and has decided since he was little to follow in his footsteps. He excels in STEM, honing his skills at school, sparing no effort for his future medical studies. Mom is also a STEM person, and my brother seems to have inherited both their talents fully. I'm good at STEM too, not as much as my brother, but still better than most. Yet I also have a knack for the arts, not specializing solely in STEM. So in tests, even if I can't beat my brother in STEM subjects, I make up for it in the arts. And my brother, he's very skillful with his hands. In our elementary school home economics class, he effortlessly threaded a needle and did a perfect backstitch, earning praise from the teacher, who said he could make a sturdy bag. In high school, Dad told him about a suture practice kit, and he started practicing stitching. I thought it was too early for such practice, but he was so eager to become a skilled surgeon that I couldn't help but be overwhelmed by his brilliance. At that time, I was deepening my interest in medicine, fascinated by its crucial role in preventing and curing diseases. Leading not just supporting medical care, I saw its vast potential. Pharmacology requires not just STEM skills, but also the ability to build logical arguments, which suited me well since I excelled in both STEM and arts. Awakened to this interest, I started buying books about drugs, learning the basics, and various types. I was in the 9th grade then, filled with joy at having found my passion, just like my brother. When we were in the 11th grade, Dad fell ill and was hospitalized. He joked, "A doctor who can't even manage his own health." But Mom said he had been off for a while. Neither my brother nor I were overly worried about Dad's condition. We just hoped this busy man would finally get some rest. However, as his hospital stay extended well beyond the initial period, our anxiety grew. One evening, when Mom returned from the hospital, we confronted her with our fears and heard something we never expected. Dad had only a few months left. His blood circulation was failing, affecting oxygen supply and waste removal, hindering life support. The cause was unknown, with no effective treatment, and he was weakening daily. Dad had told us not to visit his room much, but Mom revealed he didn't want us to see him weaken, which brought tears to my eyes. I understood Dad's feelings, but one day, my brother and I secretly visited him. We found Dad frail, surrounded by medical equipment and tubes. He was asleep, with only the quiet hum of machines. The sight shocked us, but more than anything, we felt helpless and sorrowful. 2 months later, on a hot day marking the start of summer, Dad passed away. Mom, my brother, and I embraced as we faced that moment. It happened as the heart rate monitor showed a flat line, and the doctor confirmed Dad's passing by checking his pupils. The emotions of that time were indescribable, the doctor's words echoing in my head. With Dad gone, life for Mom and us began as a trio. I wanted to support Mom, who bravely faced our new reality. Dad had expressed his wish to donate his body for research to uncover the cause of his illness and find a cure. It was his strong will to help others suffering from diseases. To honor Dad's legacy, my brother vowed to become a doctor and I reaffirmed my commitment to pharmacology. We studied more seriously than ever for our exams. Time passed, and my brother got into the medical school of the university hospital where Dad worked, while I was accepted into the state university's pharmacy program. Our paths to continue Dad's legacy were now set before us. Filled with enthusiasm, I entered the university and went to the orientation. Learning about credit systems and required courses only boosted my excitement. After the orientation, as I was about to explore the campus, someone approached me. "Hello, your name is?" Peering at the document I held, she continued. "Oh, it sounds like a boy's name. Weird name. What?" I was taken aback by her abruptness. "That's rude, don't you think? To call it weird? It's a precious name, given to me by my mom. It's not strange at all." "Sorry, but isn't it odd for a girl? My name is Juliet, you know. Pretty, isn't it?" Though her rudeness shocked me, I felt hurt because I'd always been self-conscious about my name since childhood. "That's nice for you. Excuse me." I quickly realized I didn't want to interact with her, and tried to leave. But Juliet blocked my way, saying, "Well, if you got into this university, you must be somewhat intelligent, even if not as much as me. What does your dad do?" "My dad owns a drugstore chain. He's a CEO." Dad was a doctor, but he passed away. "What? You don't have a dad? You must be struggling then. It seems reckless for someone like you to attend a university, even a state one, without understanding your place." I have no need to explain my situation to her, I thought, barely holding back my words. "That's none of your business. I'm here on a scholarship, so there's no problem." "A scholarship? So you are struggling financially? Oh. And now that you mention it, your clothes do seem to scream poverty. Mine are from an exclusive high-end brand." I had decided to be as independent as possible, so I applied for a scholarship and was selected. The selection process was challenging, but I cleared it with flying colors. The scholarship would waive repayment if I maintained excellent grades, which further motivated me to study hard. Just like me, my brother also earned a scholarship after clearing the selection process and is studying at the medical school. The clothes I'm wearing aren't high-end brands, but they're new for my university entrance, and they don't reflect poverty at all. Juliet, after saying what she wanted and laughing, left with a triumphant air, judging and looking down on others, boasting about herself, and then leaving. I had never encountered someone like her, and it was a bit of a shock. Exhausted by the encounter with Juliet, I continued exploring the campus and came across club recruitment activities. I became interested in pharmacology research club, and as I learned more, my interest grew, leading me to join. Blessed with great seniors and peers, my university life began to shine even brighter. The seniors recommended elective courses, and I crafted my schedule. All the subjects seemed interesting, and I couldn't wait for the lectures to start. When I went to the university store to buy textbooks and materials, I unfortunately bumped into Juliet, the last person I wanted to see. Seeing the textbooks I was about to buy, Juliet said, "Oh dear, you're buying so little. It's not even half of what I'm getting. Planning to fail and repeat the year, are you?" "I don't need to buy new ones. I received textbooks and materials from a senior who completed the courses last year." Along with the course recommendations, I had received used textbooks from a club senior. The textbooks were valuable, with key sections highlighted in red and helpful comments and notes written in them. "What? You're using second-hand stuff given out of pity? Struggling to afford new textbooks? How pitiful. I can't imagine using old things. But I guess you have no choice, do you?" That's not it. The notes and comments from the seniors are really helpful. You don't get that in new textbooks. Well, let's just say that's your excuse. Being poor must be hard. I wouldn't know about that kind of hardship. She had firmly decided I was poor, and nothing I said seemed to reach her. Even if I were poor, ridiculing and looking down on someone is inexcusable, but that common decency seemed lost on her. I genuinely didn't want anything to do with someone like her. After that, I had fewer encounters with Juliet due to different elective courses, but in mandatory classes, I inevitably ran into her. Juliet would bother me whenever she felt like it, often with belittling remarks, and her insults intensified when she was in a bad mood. "Still at university? Maybe you should just give up and drop out. I smelled poverty, and there you were. By the way, what does your mom do? Day labor must be hard, right? She hurled such words effortlessly, astonishing me with their harshness. Despite these encounters with Juliet, my university life progressed smoothly. My grades were decent, and I got along well in club activities and with friends other than Juliet. Although my brother was at a different university, I heard he was top of his class. As always, impressively brilliant. Now I've become a junior. At this university, joining a seminar from junior year is mandatory, designed for deeper engagement with our fields of study. I chose a seminar focused on exploring the direction and future of pharmacology, led by a leading professor in the field. It was popular, requiring a selection test, which I passed successfully. On the first day of the seminar, I faced an unexpected challenge. You're in this seminar too? Ugh, the presence of a poor person will lower its standards. I joined, thinking it would enhance my reputation. To my dismay, Juliet was in the same seminar. I sighed and looked heavenward. During self-introductions, Juliet bragged without regard for the setting, causing dismay and disappointment among the others, though she seemed oblivious to it. I genuinely worried that her presence might lower the seminar's standards. Later, at a welcome party, Juliet caused a scene again. While talking to a senior about my family and expressing concern about my busy and tired mom, Juliet interrupted. A day laborer's hard life. That's hilarious. Maybe you should work instead of being here to ease your life a bit. She had been drinking, making her rudeness worse, and barged into my conversation with the senior. The senior, being sensible and normal, reprimanded her. What an impolite thing to say. Enough is enough. But a drunken Juliet blamed me for being scolded by the senior, ranting and attempting to throw her beer on me. Fortunately, another senior stopped Juliet from throwing beer at me, but she continued to rant and cause a commotion. The professor was absent due to a conference, so the incident didn't escalate further, but it did result in Juliet becoming an outcast in the seminar. Believing I was the reason for her isolation, Julie continued to harass me. She restrained herself in public, but turned hostile when we were alone. Her reduced attendance in the seminar was a relief for me, but surprisingly, she never quit. She revealed her reasoning in one of her taunts. The seminars become dull because of you, but I'll stay enrolled to graduate and land a good job. It'd be better without you around. You're a nuisance. I wanted to retort. I'd say the same to you, but held back, realizing she was just clinging to the seminar for its benefits. She didn't seem much interested in studying, often out partying instead. Time passed, and I graduated successfully. Juliet, surprisingly, also graduated despite her frequent outings. She wasn't dumb. If she had focused more on her studies, she would have done even better. But she did pass the pharmacy national examination, which was impressive. She secured a job as a pharmacist. Meanwhile, my brother Theodore passed the medical licensing exam and became an intern at the university hospital where Dad had worked. Proudly, he followed through on his dream, becoming an intern in the clinical training program for doctors, rotating through various departments before choosing his specialty. Theodore still has many challenges ahead, but he says the work is rewarding. He hopes to become a surgeon just like Dad. Nearly 2 years after graduation, I received an invitation for a seminar reunion. Eager to see old friends, but apprehensive about meeting Juliet, I weighed the pros and cons and decided to attend. While enjoying catching up with familiar faces, Juliet appeared. Still looking poor, I see, she said, her usual insolence unchanged. She inquired about my current situation. By the way, where did you end up working? I know you passed the exam, all high and mighty. I chose not to seek employment. Explaining myself to Juliet seemed tedious, but before I could start, she cut me off with a loud exclamation. What? You're not working? Unemployed even after nearly 2 years since graduation? That's really bad for someone as poor as you. Like she had initially assumed I was poor, now she had convinced herself I was unemployed. Knowing how fixed her misconceptions were, I felt no urge to correct her. I'm working at the pharmacy department of a major hospital, attending lots of patients. I'm an ace pharmacist there. There she goes, bragging again, without anyone asking. And I'm getting married to a brilliant young surgeon at the hospital. He proposed, insisting he wanted only me. Juliet's boastful tales continued endlessly. Though the content was trivial, I felt uneasy when I realized the hospital she mentioned was where my brother worked. You may never marry being poor, but envy me, she said. My bad premonition turned real less than a week after the reunion. Unbeknownst to me, my brother Theodore had a girlfriend, and they were considering marriage. Mom knew, but I hadn't had much chance to talk to her or Theodore due to my busy schedule. And to my utter shock, Theodore's girlfriend was Juliet. The thought of her becoming my sister-in-law, even just by marriage, was horrifying. Could Theodore truly be happy with her? I wanted to reveal Juliet's true nature, but if Theodore was happy, I didn't want to interfere like a tattletale. A family meeting was set for Theodore to formally introduce Juliet. She didn't want to visit Theodore's home, so we met at a hotel restaurant. As soon as we sat down, Juliet glared at me. I can't believe Theodore's sister is you. Oh, I remember Theodore mentioning he attended university on a scholarship. That figures. What does she mean by that figures? Is she implying we're poor? I could predict Juliet's thought process all too well. But Theodore isn't a surgeon. He's different from you all. Plus, we're building our new house soon. Typical of a wealthy doctor, right? Theodore planned to build a new house for their married life, so the wedding was set to happen after its completion. I asked Juliet why she refused to come to Theodore's family home. Well, it's just a modest house, and as a president's daughter, it's not a place for me to step into. I can be blunt with you, but I'd be more restrained with Theodore's mom. In essence, she didn't want to visit our poor home. Her mindset was predictably shallow. Half a year later, Theodore's new house was completed, and he moved in. He invited us, including Juliet, to show off the new place. Juliet, having arrived earlier than Mom and me, had already seen the house. She was in a good mood, impressed by its grandeur. Amazing, right? Just what you'd expect from a doctor like Theodore. Even more luxurious than my parents' house. Brand new, nothing to complain about. As we raised a toast to celebrate, Juliet made a shocking move. You live in a different world than me. We can't have poor germs around. She threw her glass of beer at me. I was stopped at the seminar's welcome party, but this feels refreshing. Her spiteful remembrance of that old incident gave me chills, but I remained calm, because I knew what was coming next. Mom, laughing heartily, broke the news. What are you talking about? I built this house. Juliet's smug laughter ceased. What? But this is Theodore's house. She was visibly shaken, unable to continue. Do you think a new doctor just finishing his internship could afford this? Theodore handed me a towel and spoke to Juliet. How could someone as poor as her build such a mansion? You think Mom is a day laborer, right? Poor you, with such misguided beliefs. Mom is the CEO of a company that runs a chain of pharmacies, Theodore explained. When he mentioned the company's name, Juliet trembled. That's impossible. No surprise there, as Juliet's father's drugstore chain was a subsidiary of Mom's company. Mom had taken over the business from my grandfather and expanded it, eventually acquiring Juliet's father's company. Like Theodore was inspired by our dad to become a surgeon, I was inspired by our mom, a top-notch pharmacist, to pursue the same career. Mom laughed and revealed, I built this house. The kids got into university on scholarships, so I thought I'd prepare a house for them after marriage. Alex doesn't have a partner yet, so she'll have to wait. Mom, forget that. At the last family meeting, you were strange, and I was questioned by both of them. Mom investigated you after hearing about it. A seminar classmate of theirs, my friend, told me about Juliet's bizarre behavior. Third-party testimony is credible. As the conversation progressed, Juliet's face turned pale and trembled. I told Juliet's dad everything, and he apologized deeply. He said he'd disown you. I can't marry someone like you. Consider our engagement over. Wait, Theodore! Juliet pleaded tearfully, but Mom delivered the final blow. What's more, You've been involved in illegal activities as a pharmacist. We can't overlook that. Juliet burst into tears and collapsed, understanding the full implication. Mom's investigation revealed Juliet had been smuggling restricted drugs from the pharmacy, handing them over to outsiders. The pharmacy department of the university hospital has deep ties with Mom's company, and Mom was consulting with the head of the department. There were small but regular discrepancies in the drug inventory, prompting an internal investigation. During her student days, Juliet associated with criminals, getting involved in the use and distribution of illegal drugs. Initially, she stole from the university's supplies, and after getting a job, she began taking drugs from the hospital's pharmacy. Following Juliet's graduation, the university tightened its drug management protocols. There's no excuse for such lax management, but exploiting it to commit crimes is inexcusable. Of course, her actions are criminal and not something that can be simply apologized for. Juliet was arrested. "I'm sorry for the trouble. My judgment was off," Theodore apologized. "It's not your fault, Theodore. Lucky it was before the marriage. Live here with your future spouse. Next time, introduce me to someone nice. I'm busy and enjoying my research for now, so that might wait." After university, I pursued a master's degree on my professor's recommendation. I'm technically unemployed, as Juliet said, but I'm deeply engaged in research on a new drug, potentially effective against the disease Dad had. "This research is a joint project with our university. It might fulfill Dad's hopes through your efforts." "Mom's company is supporting it. Dad would be proud." I'm determined to continue this research, fulfilling my dream and Dad's legacy. I plan to pursue a doctoral degree, so receiving a house from Mom might wait a while longer.